And good evening. Welcome to City Focus. I'm Marty Olsen, your host, and tonight I've got a brand new guest, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. I met him last week right here at the SEC TV studios. They had an ice cream social, and I was here, and so was Thaler, and he's running for the 41st District State Rep seat, which represents Groton. So we've got Thaler Hefel. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate your time and the invite. It's pretty awesome.
It's an opportunity for you to introduce yourself to your community and what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and let's have a little fun here for the next 50 minutes.
Great. Love it.
Okay. So he's new to me. He may be more familiar to you since we're on his side of the bridge, but let's give folks a little bit of an intro on who you are and how you got to where you're sitting right this moment.
Oof, where do I begin? My name is Thaler Hefel, and I was born and raised, born in Providence, but raised in the 41st District. So I've lived in Pawcatuck my whole life, and a few times I moved out here and there. I lived in Colorado for a few years, and it's where I met my wife. But I spent most of my life right here. I'm a local stonemason by trade. My dad started the business in '93, and I started out like $8 an hour when I was like 14 years old. I remember he came to me, he's like, all right. You know, it was like the summertime, right? Summer just kicked off, and I'm like, woohoo, kid summer. And he's like, well, you want to make some money? You start working. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll go hump gravel with you, $8 an hour. And I started making some money with him. And no matter how many times he tried to fire me over the years, it just never worked, you know? So I stuck with him for 17 years. Until I bought the business 5 years ago, something like that. And
there's not a lot of masons or stonemasons in this area, are there?
Yeah, there's a few, and we all work together, which is nice. It's funny, I'm on Ender's Island right now installing these memorial bricks, so you can pay to have. It's a really cool program, actually. You're essentially immortalizing loved ones through these bricks. They send them down to a place, and they get them engraved. So they had like 100, 20 of them or whatever it was, and they've got the Ender's Island has Holy Smokes coming up, which is their biggest annual fundraiser for opioid addicts. So they're like, any chance you could come install these beforehand? I said, sure, why not? We'll get it done. And people walk by, and they're, people always say, man, it's a lost art. It's a lost art. And I found myself this week really honing it down for myself. Actually, I told somebody, I said, actually, hold on, excuse me, hold on one second. I just thought of something. It's not a lost art. It's just you can't find the people who want to work that hard anymore. The art isn't lost. The will to work that hard is dying. That's the loss right there.
So you're not making like just stone walls. I mean, you do brickwork and block work.
Yeah. My dad, he's this guy is something else. He's a really incredible guy. I mean, what he taught me essentially everything I know. I mean, obviously, I worked with a lot of wonderful GCs, and all my friends are retiring or dying in the business. And now I'm being surrounded by people that are actually my age that are coming into the business, 5-6 years in. And I had been in the whole time watching them do other things, and then now they're in, and now I'm working with them, and it's been quite a shift for me. But it's seasonal. Wintertime, you're in basements doing basement restorations. I do a lot of historical restoration stuff. People call me for historical stuff. I work, on the Stonington Libraries, go-to mason. I do work for cemeteries all around.
Do you set stone?
Say again?
Do you set?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So like I said, it's seasonal. It's summertime is seawalls, hardscaping.
You do chimneys?
Mostly hardscaping. Yeah, I don't really do ground up chimneys anymore because I'm only one guy now where there used to be two. And it's easy for me to do, something on one level. I can work on one level and do, you'd be surprised at the end of a week what I can do. But as soon as you go 4 stories up, I'm slower than every other guy because I have to bring all the materials up and down myself. Every 30 minutes I need to come down, mix mortar, so I tell people, you don't want to hire me to do a chimney. It's going to take twice as long and cost twice as much. So I kind of stick, as far as chimney work goes, I stick to restoration or fireplace work. I'll throw up small chimneys. I did, a double set that were about 2 stories tall, not too long ago. But yeah, anything masonry, really. I mean, I'm at the point now. I'm 20 years into it, so now I'm like, if someone comes to me and says, "You want to do some flat work," which is like on your hands and knees for 2 weeks, I'm like, no, not really, but thank you for the offer.
So a patio is not your thing.
Yeah, patios. I hate doing patios because my back hurts. Okay, that's why I hate doing patios. But I've just done so many of them, But yeah, I mean, I love the job. I really do. I don't need to go to the gym. I'm outside, 320 days a year, we'll say 60. So let's say 300 days a year, I'm outside all day long. I'm getting my UV rays. I'm getting the fresh air. I'm getting exercise. And my favorite thing is I can drive around from New London, East Lyme to Stonington and go, I did that one. I did that one when I was like 18. Oh, that was my first, alone job doing blah, blah, blah. That's my favorite part, is I'm creating something tangible that someone gets to enjoy for as long as they're alive. That I really think that's a cool. I was just talking to someone recently about this. They're saying, it's hard to get paid, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm actually kind of in the opposite position because unlike a plumber or an electrician, that's necessary to get to that. It's necessary. My work isn't necessarily necessary. It's a want, not a need.
Yep.
So I'm always invited onto the job site by the homeowner with a vision or an idea, and then says, can you execute something like this? And I go, absolutely. And they're excited that I'm there. They're not excited about the sheetrockers showing up, unless they want to get their CO and they need it signed up. But no homeowners walking around the house going, wow, amazing. It's just something, the plumbing gets hidden in the walls. I went to school for plumbing and heating. I love that I did that. I barely have to call a plumber for my house. But my favorite part about my job is that at the end of every one, I was just talking to my neighbor. I put a set of stone steps, and I'm doing a big retaining wall. I finished her stone steps the other day, and she's just, I can't believe I get to look at this for the rest of my life. This is amazing, That gratification is really cool.
You've got the skill set then to build an arch with bricks?
Sure. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You build a wooden frame, you can build on top of that, or if you want to do a beehive oven, You pile a bunch of sand in there, you shape it like a dome, and then you build on top of that, dig the sand out. There's all the old-timey tricks, to stuff, and then I put my own flair on things now because my dad's not with me on the job site anymore. I've no one left to argue with. It's just me.
Talking to yourself, huh?
Yeah. Oh, you'd be surprised. I'm on a job the other day, and the lady's like, "Do you always talk to yourself?" I'm like, "Well, it's either me or my dog, because I always have a dog with me on the job site." I said, "We're the only ones listening. We're the only ones here." So, but I really think
I think it's kind of cool. I mean, you're running for state rep, as we were discussing prior to coming on the air. This is your first run for political office. So I think it's exciting to me that to get a gentleman such as yourself elected, because you bring a different perspective up to Hartford.
That's the hearsay around the block, and that's my goal. Was not to do this. This is my goal. This is my life goal. Where I was about a month ago, I was well on my way, exactly where I wanted to be, which is minimum maintenance, things are paid off, no debt, low overhead, because I'm raising 2 kids and I have a wife, and I want to be able to spend as much time as possible with those kids, because my dad and my mom did that for me, and I want to be able to, everyone should want to improve on their parents. I'm just trying to do that. This isn't necessarily helping with that cause.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really cool opportunity to be able to bring something new to the table, like you said. I'm not like, I'm gonna go in there and shake it up. But I am. I am going to do that,
I think
because
you come from a position. I've spent 20 years in home improvements.
Okay.
I mean you look at things differently.
Right.
And you'll evaluate the issues of the day.
Yeah.
In a different way.
That's right.
And you may have that opportunity to bring things that folks that just don't think like builders and tradespeople do, and perhaps save the state some money, maybe do it a better way.
Maybe actually solve a problem or two once in a while.
Yeah.
Right? Only solutions, no problems. It's what I see. I'm not going to try to speak for the 41st. Everyone is their individual, but what I see is they as in the government, they like having problems. Okay? Because without problems, we wouldn't need them. We would realize, oh, well, we're good. We don't need you to be, making these elusive decisions that are way above our head, and we can't, leave it to us. We'll take care of that. You just keep funding it, and we'll iron everything out, right? And those problems don't get solved. There's just always this problem, right? Well, they can run on the problem now. They can keep spending money. And we look at it and go, oh, well, they're spending money on it. They must be working on it, right? Does that seem like it's the case? I mean,
are they solving the problem?
Are they solving the problem, or are they just milking the problem? In a lot of cases, there are guys like Greg Howard. He's a problem solver. He's not in there to mess around. I know this guy personally. He's not.
I listened to him on Lee Elsey.
Yeah.
When he goes on. I mean, he's a straight shooter.
Yeah.
He calls it the way he sees it.
That's exactly right. Rob Simmons, same thing. Straight shooter, problem solver. Not afraid to say, hey, what are we doing here? I enjoy talking with those people because I can relate to them. one argument that me and my wife have is, you always want to solve the problem. I just want you to hear what I'm saying, right? That's how my construction brain works. That's how that works. It's just different that way. I don't want to milk something. I want to solve it so we can move to the next problem that I can solve, because I enjoy the satisfaction of getting something done. It's just wired that way.
Well, and I hope that you achieve success. I mean, that's one of the things I found an element of frustration serving on the New London City Council.
What, bureaucracy or what?
Well, just that those who don't know, they're in other things, and they don't respect what you do, and they just go their own way, and they don't listen to you, and it's like they know, and they don't respect what you do bring to the table.
It's a lack of life experience, is how I see it. I see there's two types of politicians, I guess. You know, there's the type of politician that is in there he's got something to gain, and then there's the type of politician that he's going to sacrifice while he's in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you've got politicians, like I said earlier, who think this is beneath the people, let me deal with it. And then you've got politicians who are like, no, I was, X, Y, and Z, a farmer. I was in construction for years. This is how we think down here, and there is a solution to it. And they don't want to take you seriously, in my opinion, because they don't want to solve the problem. They don't want to solve the problem. They wouldn't have a problem. They wouldn't have anything to run on the next time around.
Now, are there any specific key issues that have got you fired up, or are you out on the stump and you're listening to people and they're sharing what they think are the important issues of the day?
Yeah. Mind you, and all of you, I am not a politician. Okay, I follow. Up until this point, I'm obviously a little bit more in tune nowadays, but I follow national and I follow state, and I listen to it while I'm working, and I got my earbud in, and I go, oh, that's interesting, and that's interesting, or that makes me mad, right? But so I am trying to get into office so I can actually speak on these matters with confidence. I don't have the confidence to speak on policy just yet, but here is what I've learned, and here's my investigations, and here's what I think. So, for example, today I stopped at a gas station, local gas station. I know the owner works from 7 to 12, so I stopped him while he was there. I went inside, I said, hey, how you doing? Indian guy, nice guy. How much money do you make per gallon? Just wanted to know. He goes, well, it really depends. We make anywhere between 5 and 20 cents a gallon. Okay. So you run and maintain this gas station. You do the legwork to get people their fuel, and you make, on a good day, 20 cents a gallon. On a bad day, it's 5 cents a gallon. I said,
they don't make a lot.
They don't make a lot, right? I said, do you know how much Connecticut makes per gallon? I said, 51 cents per gallon. So, I mean, if I were to be doing a job, and only when I was doing, because obviously they sell different products, right? They have to do that because they wouldn't be successful if they were just selling gas, because the state takes more income, more profit than the actual gas station owner does, right? So if I was doing masonry and the state said, anytime you do anything with brick, we're gonna take more profit than you. But everything else you can keep more, but when you do brick, we're gonna keep most of it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that money and we're gonna put it into a fund called the Transportation Fund. Okay, and that Transportation Fund is supposed to take care of things like highway maintenance, transportation stuff, public safety, roads, I would imagine maybe signage, anything that has to do with transportation. And I'm thinking, well, why is it that everywhere I drive, I can feel the road under my feet while I'm driving? And you're taking 50 cents from every gallon from every gas station and supposedly maintaining our infrastructure with it, but I can't even ride my road bike around half of these roads because I'll pop a tire, and it's been like that my entire life. So show me where the money's going. Show it to me. I just want to see where the money's going. Prove to me that 50 cents of every gallon statewide is going into the transportation fund, and that money is only being spent on maintaining our infrastructure so we can not have to, buy new tires once a year or suspension on our cars. I mean, it's a little fishy to me. So that's one thing that I would like to look into is that going to like some sort of a slush fund, or are you actually using it for what it's meant to be used for, right?
Well, when you have a conversation with Mr. Simmons, the Colonel, or Mr. Howard, or Ms. Summers, they should be able to help guide you through the minefield in this area.
Exactly, which is great. There's what a great team of people to have around to ask questions like this. Another one is, as I'm sure you've heard, Eversource delivery rate price hike. Have you heard of this? 11 to 13%.
Yeah, they'll cut. I think they're going to cut this social one there at the end there, to pay for the folks that don't pay. And people didn't even know that was happening until Howard made a big stink about it.
Good. Everyone should know what's happening, right? Because you have businesses like the restaurant industry, which draws in, tourism is one of the biggest industries ever, okay? And you've got the top of the heap is transportation, airlines and stuff for tourism, and then second in line is hospitality, restaurant industry, and hotels. You're telling me you are going to essentially go to war with hospitality by increasing delivery rates 11 to 13% on every restaurant and hotel across the state, and expect everything to just run exactly the way it is?
Connecticut is one of the worst states in the union in regards to taxation.
Yeah.
I mean, as well as overhead, electric rates.
Yeah.
It's just, and business has choices. They don't have to come to Connecticut.
They don't have to stay.
They can leave.
That's exactly right.
Do.
And they do. Absolutely. So that's an issue I would like to dive into. I spoke with this wonderful woman at Pura. Okay, so Pura is the board or committee, commission, if you will, that takes these requests from corporations like Eversource. They submit them to Pura. And Pura is the board that kind of goes through with a fine-tooth comb and ultimately makes the decision whether or not to implement, send it to the governor or not.
They have a big impact on rates.
Big. They are the impact on rates. So, when I first heard about it, I'm like, this is bad. This is bad for me. My electric bill is outrageous. I have a 1,500 square foot home. I was getting $400-something electric bills for no reason, right? And I'm not the only one who's outraged. For how long now? How long has this been going on? 5, 6 years where they keep just hiking and hiking and hiking. It's like they're out of control. They're out of control. I don't understand it, right? I get that there's overhead. I get that, but that's no explanation for the last 6 years. It's really outrageous. So I called Pura just to see how can we be heard? How can we be heard? And this woman, awesome woman, She said, you're going to go and you're going to email this email. If you go on my campaign page, the directions are right there. I made it as simple as possible. You go on this email. In the headline there, you type in these numbers. That refers to the case number. And then you type in whatever you want to type in, and that goes on record, just like you're at a public hearing. And then you got the public comments that all go on record. That's what that is. So I just go, boom. I called, a buddy of mine, Dan Miser, who is big in the restaurant industry around here. I said, Dan, here's the directions to getting the fastest way to get your restaurant's concerns about this on the public record regarding this specific matter here. And he goes, I'm going to make a phone call real quick. And he calls, I can't remember exactly, but the president of the Restaurant Association, possibly Connecticut, or at least this part of Connecticut, and says, here you go. This is a one-step process to get on the public record. And I hope that they pass that out, and I hope every single restaurant and hotel in this state does that. Because they're talking about 13% increase for residential. I'm okay with the idea of being in the working middle class. It's almost a sense of pride for me. I'm young, I'm energetic, I can do this, I have the will, I want to work. I don't have a problem with putting my taxes in and having other people benefit from them. I know that's how it goes. Some people, quite frankly, don't deserve it, and some people do. And that's okay. That's the system we live in, and I love where we live. But why are you jacking the prices up again? Why? Why are you doing that? You're breaking families every time you do that. Every time there's a price hike, families are breaking. So I think that's another issue I would like to pay attention to. And if anybody's following Fazio, that's the soapbox he's on. That guy's the energy, whiz.
Touche. You have something on your shirt there you asked me to inquire about there. Stronghold Rescue Relief.
Yes.
What is it? What's it all about?
So, in a nutshell, I just wanted to give people the opportunity to maybe contribute to Stronghold Rescue and Relief. It's veterans who go back into conflict zones and protect families. That's what it is. You pay, you donate to them, and they go back into conflict zones and they protect families and keep them safe. That's all. It's quite simple, and I think everyone should chip in $5 because we can all sit here and complain about gas being $3.50 a gallon, but there's millions and millions of mothers with little kids out there who can't even get a bowl of rice because some dictator is making their life impossible. So that's what this shirt is about, and I think people should pay attention to it.
I'm glad that you asked me to ask, because I was not familiar, and now I am.
Thank you for asking. I appreciate it.
This just gives me a moment just to make a quick segue with a couple of public service announcements of some activities going on. The London Kiwanis Golf Tournament is on September 18th over at Shinnecossett here in Groton. And we need players and sponsors and volunteers. We need prizes. There we go. And it's an annual event. It's our primary fundraiser, and all the money we raise goes back into the community. Nobody's getting paid here.
Beautiful.
It's a volunteer organization, and our primary, but not exclusive focus is youth. So it's a good opportunity to go out and have a good time for a good cause. We are also at the Kiwanis Club. We're having next Tuesday evening our annual Scholarship Award Banquet, where we will be recognizing 4 students with $3,000 scholarships, which this golf tournament helps to support that program. And looking forward to that. That'll be at the newly named Little Neck restaurant, formerly it's that Great Neck golf course over in Waterford. And we're also going to be at Ocean Beach on the 26th, the next Friday, with the Silly Hat Parade. Good kid program there. They can walk up and down the boardwalk with their hats, and they get goodie bags and have a lot of fun. And the next day, we're working with the New England Lodge of Elks with the Lids for Kids bike safety program, and we'll be volunteering, and kids will get a course on bike safety and a helmet to go. So we're looking forward to these upcoming activities in the near future. So
beautiful. Bike safety, I love it. I'm a dual citizen of Austria. I speak fluent German. Don't ask my Austrian friends that, they'll laugh at me. But my dad came over in 84, 85. He's a green card holder. So, immigrant dad, hardworking guy, spent the last 40 years here, paying his dues, and I just brought my kids over there for the first time to go meet my Oma, which was a really cool experience for me. Just thinking that I've worked that hard and now I have a family and I get to bring them over there was just mind-blowing to me. But the culture over there is bicycles. That's the culture. So that country has bike paths everywhere. Bike paths. That's the whole shtick is bike paths. Okay. That's important to me. I take my kids on bike rides. We have one of those little kid trailers. I'm going tomorrow morning. We go down to Junkin' Java over in Westerly, get ourselves some protein balls and a cream cheese bagel, and they have these boxes of Legos. And we sit in there and play Legos for an hour and eat a cream cheese bagel, and then we bike home. But, we're biking on the side of Route 1. We're biking on sidewalks. We're navigating to get home, when I think it would be pretty cool to maybe advocate for some bike trails, get some bike paths going. And people, it's a little different here, obviously. We're a little late to the game. There's private property stands in the way of that, right? So you can't just, because bike trails over there, they're not near the road. They're off on their own. You are just in heaven, way away from the road on bike paths over there.
Much safer then as well.
No, there's nothing. No one's going to run into you except another bicyclist. Another cyclist. But I think it would be a pretty cool thing to try to get some stretches of bike paths connecting neighborhoods to downtowns for kid safety. I think that would be a noble thing to fight for, Then you're reducing carbon emissions. If that's your focus, that satisfies that. I'm focused on children's safety. I'm focused on mental health. That's a big thing for me, because at one point in time when I'm young, I'm struggling with mental health growing up and, just figuring the world out. Exercise is the best thing for mental health. It's the best thing. It is the best thing next to, diet for mental health. So you're promoting mental health. You're reducing the amount of gasoline you're using. It's safe for kids. I think it would be pretty. I would fight for that. And a lot of people would say, well, I don't care about bike paths. I don't ride bikes. But I think that's something that I would spend some time on. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Getting people out. Most importantly, for mental health. I mean, you don't need to look too far to see that there's some mental health issues, on this planet. I mean, there's so many people, and there's, especially with social media. I mean, I don't like social media. I don't like it. I am not an advocate for social media. I think it is poison. That's what I think it is. And I understand that it's very good to get messages out if a business is using it. You know, like anything in moderation, right? Water could kill you if you drink enough of it at one time, right? But in moderation, it works. It's good for you. It's great. You can't put social media into a 14-year-old's hands and expect them to moderate themselves. It doesn't, I mean, I moved to Austria when I was 11 years old. I lived there for a year and went to school over there. That's where I learned German. At that point in time, I could go down to the gas station and buy a pack of cigarettes from my mom. Okay, I was 11. We were smoking 3 packs a day, right? Because we had access to it. I couldn't imagine having access to social media at that point. I mean, who knows what kind of different development that would have done for me. You know, I just want to go back to, I wonder where Joe is. Well, gonna have to go find him, get on my bike, and go start, you know, like a detective, start at his house where he might be, and then talk to the next person, and then you're getting exercise the entire time, you're outside the entire time, you're exercising your, you know, your mental skills of deduction, you know, now it's just instant gratification, instantly, without, it's reward without the effort.
And it's global.
It's global. You're telling me that a 13-year-old kid has the same knowledge as a 40-year-old? That's really, is this what we're doing? You're telling me that a 12-year-old has the same access to knowledge that a 60-year-old who has lived their entire life and had life experiences and can discern, you know, has discernment at all? They have the same tool? What are you going to start doing? Giving kids Lamborghinis next? Like, and expect them to, like, properly be able to navigate with that? It's crazy to me. Mental health is a big thing for me.
Well, mental health, and it's a big issue in Connecticut. And I mean, I'm a New London guy, and in New London, we've got significant amount of homeless folks.
Okay, yeah.
And I think to a large degree, we've created our own little homeless community, you might say. I mean, we've got the Homeless Hospitality Center, and
Sure.
this, to a large degree, was created when these state institutions were closed, and you have people who are unable to take care of themselves thrown out onto the street and say, bye.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And then
Good
you
luck.
find them, they're not taking their meds, and they're living under the bridge, and
Yeah, exactly.
It's a worse environment than where they came from.
Exactly. You're not creating a strong, healthy society by doing that. You're not creating a strong, healthy society. I mean, you can go to different countries and see, wow, this is a mentally healthy country. Look at the productivity. Look at this. And then you can go to another country and say, you know, I've been to Cuba. You go there and go, oh my God, these people are in prison. They're in prison. I'm talking with a taxi driver, and I'm just asking them the questions. What's the taxes down here? It's 90% taxes, 10% I get to keep. I mean, they're in prison. The only bottled water company in the whole country is owned by the government. The only yellow taxi service, I say yellow cab service, they might be purple, I can't remember, is owned by the government. Most of the hotels are owned by the government. And then the mental health, these people, I mean, you wonder why they're swimming over to Florida. I mean, they'll do anything, right? And never mind firearms. You get somebody who's mentally unstable who gets a hold of a firearm. You see what happens then. That's the worst case scenario. That's my nightmare. I have kids in school, you know, and I go to my kid's school, and if we are 2 minutes late, that door's closed, I have to walk around the front, ring myself in. I've known Mrs. Lawrence since I was this big, because I went to the same school and she was working there, and doesn't matter. She's gonna let me in just like she lets everybody else in. And I love that. I love that. Mental health is, it dictates whether or not, I mean, you are putting mentally unwell people in charge of thousands of people in some instances, hundreds of thousands of people, sometimes millions of people. I mean, what do you expect to happen? What do you expect to happen? When you have a 14-year-old kid who's been on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok for 4 years, well before they should be introduced to that type of information grab, what are they like when they're 18, right? What ideas have been implanted in their heads? I mean, I liked Pokemon when I was a kid, right? Do I like it now? No, I'm all set. My kid watches it, and that's great. It's nostalgic for me, but I mean, that was just from me going to the hobby store to get Pokemon. They have a supercomputer in their pocket. Pokemon is the least of our worries now with these kids. Now you have an 18-year-old who's been exposed to God knows what, and their dad has a firearm, and they think they're going to go do something justified or whatever it is. And I think that's something we need to address. It's something we need to address.
And that's something that can be, you can have an impact up in Hartford.
Absolutely. You know, I started my crusade against mental illness in the firearms world in 2021, okay, by getting my federal firearms license, okay? I also have a gun shop. This was my mentality going in. This is, I'm gonna give people a different perspective, okay, right now. I am the first and last defense between an inanimate object and a mentally unwell person. It's just me. It's just me. When people come in to buy a firearm, I don't say, hang on 1 second, let me call the Stonington PD, we'll get them down here, and then we'll all collectively make a decision whether or not you should have one. No, it's just me. It's my discerning is between you and a gun.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I have children. I want to know as much as I can who has a firearm in my town. I want to know that stuff. I trust myself enough to have the discernment to decide whether or not I should sell you a firearm or not, because one of people need to understand that this is not a privilege, it's a responsibility.
Yeah.
I've got ATF. I'm under a magnifying glass. You think that feels great? No, it doesn't feel great, but it is what it is, and I'll take that responsibility on, because there are hateful people out there that can go get firearms licenses and all they care about is their bottom dollar, and they'll sell to anybody, right? That can be the case. That is the case in a lot of places, right? But a lot of us, good, hardworking, honest, law-abiding citizens who have our FFLs, we take the responsibility very seriously. I'm an FFL. I've spoken to a lot of FFLs. It's a huge responsibility because we have the ability to decide whether or not to sell you a firearm, even if you have a license. I can say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sell you a firearm, and you cannot bring lawsuit to me. That's like almost an oath that I had to take. I mean, it was intense. I had like a 10-hour interview one day. It's serious. They take it seriously because it's serious. So I am fighting mental health in the firearms community by being the person to decide whether or not I think you should have one. And I know that's oh my God, he thinks that highly of himself, or really that him, well, hey, think about me what you want, but there's going to be FFLs out there no matter what. And guess what? If there's 350 million people in this country, that means there's 700 million firearms that we know about, registered, right? So what? What are there, a billion? I mean, they've been pumping hundreds of thousands of firearms a year for a long time. There's got to be a billion firearms in this country. They're not going anywhere. Firearms aren't going anywhere.
No. And,
so we need to.
It's protected under the Constitution.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And I understand.
See, now I don't own any firearms, and I have no desire to.
Yeah.
But if I was in a position, an elected position, I would fight dearly to see that the Second Amendment is upheld.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, pretty much probably would have been the case. Without firearms, we would be eating tea and crumpets for lunch, driving on the other side of the road, right? I mean, why do we have this country? We came in and used firearms to take it back. I mean, that's how the world is shaped, right? And why do we get our freedom? We used firearms to fight firearms. If we had bows and arrows and spears, we'd all be speaking with a British accent right now. And that's just the bottom line. If you enjoy your freedoms, the only reason you have them is because of firearms. That's the bottom line. The first step to controlling a nation, in my opinion, is to remove their ability to defend themselves against you being the tyrant. That's the first step. You go, all right, first things first. We got to make sure it's an unfair fight. I mean, look at what Australia did, right? Oh, you're allowed to have a single-shot rifle. Great. Now they can just tell them to do whatever the hell they want to do, and there's not a damn thing those people can do about it.
Right.
And that's terrifying. It's a terrifying thought. You know, the one of the main reasons why the what was his name, Yamamoto, big general in Japan who orchestrated Pearl Harbor. He was a genius behind Pearl Harbor. Even he knew. We're not invading the U.S. What are you, nuts? He said, every single person in the U.S. has a gun. Well, you can't. The U.S. is a military. That's what it is. And the only reason that countries haven't flown over here or come over here by boat to invade us is because everyone who has a firearm, no, I don't think so. The military is X amount of people, but the amount of firearms owners, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I think Pennsylvania alone has, like, registered deer hunters in Pennsylvania alone is an outrageous number in that state alone.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a friend up in Norwich he's a hunter, and he and a group of guys have got property, and they go down to Pennsylvania to hunt.
Yeah, everyone goes to Pennsylvania to hunt. And I'll tell you what, if Pennsylvania wants to stand up an army, they can do it. Pennsylvania could defend the upper, New England probably, Pennsylvania could defend. But you won't need it because you got Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And all those hunters, don't worry, we got it covered. Yeah. Everyone who's afraid of firearms, it's okay, sit back, we've got it covered. Okay? But the biggest problem is when somebody with mental health issues gets a hold of one and has an idea. That's the scariest thing for me, having kids in school. I want my schools to be harder. I want my schools to be harder. You can't, it's a telephone. Until I pick it up and I strangle you to death with it, then it's a weapon, right? A firearm is just a paperweight until somebody with a bad idea decides to pick it up. That's what it is, I think there needs to be accountability on a different level.
Yeah.
You know, I think public schools should be, you should feel confident and safe sending your kid to a public school.
Absolutely. We're getting down to our remaining moments here, and I have found this to be a fascinating conversation.
Thanks, Marty.
And I'm just wondering, excuse me, if there's any topic that we haven't broached that you'd like to tap into in our remaining 4 or 5 minutes here.
Man, topics. I mean, there are so many topics. Well,
pick one or two.
I guess I'll just say I don't really know why I'm here. I've always been a public service kind of guy. You know, I'm a conservationist, okay? So there's environmentalists and conservationists. I want to preserve, you know, what we've got. I don't like when new stuff goes up and the environment goes to shit because, excuse my language, because of it. You know, I started a trash removal organization called Trash Talk in 2018, just because. I walked up and down my road one day. I said, you know what? This is ridiculous. I live on a beautiful road. There's trash everywhere. I walked up and down. I filled 3 trash bags. I was like 3 miles down the road. All right, now I got to walk home. I come back home. I grab my truck. I go to pick them up. All the trash bags are gone. The town had stopped and picked them all up off the side of the road. And I went, bing, light went off. And I go, oh, teamwork. They just need somebody to initiate this. So I did. And over a course of 2 or 3 years, we removed tons, literal tons. Groton dump, I believe, definitely Westerly landfill, Stonington landfill, all on board. All I had to do was call, yep, coming on Saturday, blah, blah, blah. They give me all the bags. I live on a well. I don't live on city water. I do not want people spraying pesticides anywhere. That's my drinking water. You know, I am an outdoorsman. You know, Teddy Roosevelt, love that guy. You know what I mean? So I'm just here as a regular, hardworking guy who has started multiple businesses. Between me and my wife, I think it's been like 4 in the last 10 years. Nothing's fallen, you know, apart. And I just think I can bring a different perspective. And quite frankly, if I can kick one politician out of politics, I already started doing my job.
On that note, we're going to say thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
Folks, you've been getting a good idea of a candidate for the 41st District, a Thaler Hefel, and God bless you. I hope that you achieve success. I hope we'll have time to get you back in at least once before the election.
I would love to.
And we can expand on this conversation,
sure.
See how you're making out, who you're talking to, what they're telling you.
Let's set a date.
And we'll do that. So, folks, you've been watching A City Focus. And next week, I have the infamous Tony D coming in. He comes in every few weeks, and he's a terrific guest. He's a weekly guest on the Lee LC program on Tuesday mornings. And tune in to City Focus next week. Thank you, and good night.